Good evening and welcome back to MP Live Lessons. Now, on this different live stream, I'm going through a past paper, which is the 2019 paper and a non-calculator one. I'm not going to fill in my details for data privacy laws and, well, my own good, but we'll try and start in a bit and work through as fast as we can, and I'll show you how to do each of the questions. And we'll start right now. Question 1 is some similar shapes where we have right-angled triangles. Now, similar shapes are where the sides are in proportion, so they'll multiply by the same amount. So, for example, we can see that from 10 to 15, this is multiplied by 1.5. Therefore, this is also multiplied by 1.5. So y is going to be 9. Question 2. We just have to turn this into an improper fraction, which is 5 over 3. And we square this, so we'll multiply it by itself. 25 over 9, which is 2 wholes and 7/9. Question 3 is, okay, so semicircle radius 3, radius 6. So the arc length is 2 pi r. We'll divide this by 2 because it's a semicircle. So this is just going to be 6 pi. Now, question 4. Circle the fraction that's equivalent to this. Now, 0.625 is equal to 5/8. So this is going to be 4 and 5/8. So 37 over 8. Right, this is standard form, so we need a number between 1 and 10. So we need 9.7. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we move the decimal place 4 to the right. So smaller. So we have 10 to the minus 4. And then we have another standard form question. We just deal with the ordinary numbers, the 3 and 4, like this. And then we just put the powers like this. As a result, we get 0.75. And then we subtract the powers since we're dividing. You just get 75 because this is just 100. We're on to question 6 now. Now we have a game of the fair ordinary dice. Rolls 1, she wins. Rolls 2 or 3, she loses. Rolls 4, 5 or 6, rolls again. Okay. So is one more likely to win or to lose? Right. So rolls a 1, that's a win there already. 2 or 3, that's a lose. If it's odd, she wins. If it's 4, 5 or 6. Right. So there's 6 outcomes, so it's a 6th, so 2 over 6, so that's a third. And then since odd or even, that's just a half. So the win, the probability of just getting a 1, plus you could also have this going this way to win. So that's just a half, a sixth actually, plus a half times a half, because if you have two events, you multiply them. And the probability of losing, you can just get a 2 or 3. Also the 4, 5, or 6, then the even. Okay, so therefore, since 5 over 12 is less than 7 over 12, so less likely to win, so more likely to lose. So 3 friends arrive at a party. Their arrival increases the number of people by 20%. In total, how many people now are at the party? So let's say before, let's say there were X people. So if we have 3 extra friends joining, so that's X plus 3. But if the number of people increases by 20%, that's also equal to 1.2x. So if we try and solve this, we get 3, subtract x from both sides. Then divide by 0.2 on each side. We get 15. So that was before. So after, this would be, so 18 people. Question 8, work out the value of this. Right. What I do first is work each bit out separately. So since we're dividing, we subtract the powers. So we get 3 to the 7 divided by, and then this one we add the powers because we multiply. So that's 3 to the 3. Overall, we will subtract again, and we get this. Question 9. Radius of the circle is 10 centimeters. Diameter of the semicircle is 8 centimeters. So how many times bigger is the unshaded area than the shaded area? Right. So it's best if we work out the shaded area. So this would be it's pi times 4 squared, so the radius is 4, because the diameter is 8, and so that's just going to be 8 pi. So the unshaded area, so that's the whole circle, which is going to be, and we have to take off this shaded area, so that's going to take away our 8 pi. That's 92 pi, so how many times bigger? So we do 92 pi divided by 8 pi. The pi's cancel out. So that's going to be 11.5 times bigger. I'm just checking that I did everything right here. Yep, so 11.5 times bigger. So the number of items n made in 1 hour by machine is given by n equals 60 divided by t. And the t is the time of minutes the machine takes to make one item. Right. Now so t from 1 to 4. So we'll start at t is 1. Right. Scroll across there. Then what we'll do is we'll draw a little curve of best fit. Like this. Something like this. Which is okay. Now the machine takes 3 minutes and 30 seconds to make one item. I'll use the graph. Okay. So if I move all the equipment out the way. I just go up and then reel off to the side. I'm getting about, I think that looks like 17 number of items. So 17 items for this. Okay, that's question 10 done. Ed and Faye shared this much money, the ratio 7 to 4. Ed gives Faye some of his money. Now Faye has the same amount of Ed. So if they shared it this ratio 7 to 4, there's 11 parts. So close. So therefore they shared the money originally. What I work out to be is 210 to 120. But now an equal share. Right, so there's background noise right now. So an equal share of these two would be 165 each. Therefore, Ed gave Faye that would be £45. Okay. Next, question 12. The next term of the sequence is made by adding the previous two terms. Which of these sequences follow this rule? Well, it's definitely not this one, because we got these two that don't add up to positive 2. These two add up to minus 2. These two add up to minus 3 here. Not this one, because you got positive. Now I got these two here, which comes to -3, then -3 and -3. Not this one, so it must be this one. So you got 9, 2, -7, -2 and -7 get to -5. -7, -5 gets -12. Okay. Question 13 now. The volume of the prism is 102. Use approximations to estimate the value of x. You must show you're working. So what we can say is, so since area, actually a volume, equals length times cross-section, that's the area, that will be cross-section. Since we're estimating, we add rounding to one significant figure, that's about 100 divided by just 8, that will be 12.5. So since this is a triangle, so area of the triangle is 12.5. Triangle area would be base times height, which is so x times x, or x squared divided by 2. So we set this equal to 12.5. Okay, so we estimate x to be 5. Okay, next question, 14. So we got a quadrilateral, and A is 90, and A to B is 5 to 3. X to Y is 1 to 3. Show that B equals X. Right, so since we know the ratio between A to B, right, so A to B, that's 5 to 3. We already know that A is 90 degrees. So multiply each side here by 18. So that means we get 54 here. So B is 54 degrees. So we know angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360. That means A plus B plus X plus Y is 360. And if we already know B and A, 144 plus X plus Y equals 360. X plus Y equals so that means we're left with X plus Y is 216. X and Y is 1 to 3, so that's 4 parts. So each part that would be 54. So 1 to 3. So we multiply each side by 54. We get 54 to 162. Right, and this happens to be X to Y. Right, therefore x is 54 degrees. So we saw that x is 54, b is 54, x equals b. There we go. Full proof. Next. Okay, so we're in the middle of the paper now. So question 15. So we got group data of 120 students, and we're being told to plot cumulative frequency. So we need to add all these up as we go along. So we've already got these two added up. We'll add this on. And a good thing to know here as well is that at the end, if you don't reach the expected number of students, or it's some random number, it doesn't end up something nice like 120, then you know you've gone wrong somewhere. Now we'll draw the cumulative frequency graph. And remember, we need to put this at the end points, like at 10, put a frequency of 20, at 20, put a frequency of 48. Right, so we need to pay the attention to our little scale here. So this increases in the 20s, and we got 5 boxes. So each square is 4. So 48 will just be 2 squares up, 88, 30, so 2 squares up again, 40, that'll be 108, so another 2 squares up, and at 50 finally we get to 120. And what we'll do is we'll plot a very smooth curve. That goes through all the points. You need to just do it in one go almost. Now, part C. Students who scored 15 marks or fewer take another test. Okay. So use the graph to estimate how many students take another test. We'll go back and we'll go with 15 marks. And we'll draw a line up here. And then draw a line across. We get very nicely to 3 squares above 20, which would be 32 marks. Or 32 people. Okay. Question 16. Fully simplify this and this. Right. So on the top, what I do first is try and factorize. So we get 4x, and we have 1 minus 2x. To check everything is correct, we'll try and expand these. We'll just expand these out again. Because 4x times 1 is just 4x. 4x times 2x, you get 8. And the 2x's multiplied together, you get minus 8x squared. Okay, so that's the top done. Now the bottom would be 12x minus 6. The only thing we can get out of it is just 2. Or actually 6, almost. So if you take the 6 out of both, we get 2x minus 1. Now it looks almost similar, but to switch an expression around like this, we have to put a negative here. So we get the negative at the start, and 2x minus 1. And then on the bottom, 6, 2x minus 1. So okay, so these two brackets cancel out. We can divide both the numerator and denominator by that bracket, so we get minus 4x divided by 6. And we can still simplify this. Divide both the top and bottom by 2. Get minus 2x over 3. Now, question 17. Toby is forming and solving equations. I think this could be on the actual paper this year. The product of half a number and 3 more than a number is the same as the square of a number. Right. So let's call our number. Okay, so we're told y is representing the number. So the product of is multiplying. So half a number and 3 more than number. 3 more than the number is the same as the square of the number. So we get the product, which is half the number, which is y divided by 2, or half y, and we multiply this by 3 more than number, so that's a separate one. So we put it in brackets, and we set this equal to, so it's the same as the square of the number, like this. Now, part B, we formed another equation. Now, let's see. Right. So what errors you made in this working? So the actual thing you did wrong was going from here to here. So he square rooted this side, but he didn't square root this side because he had forgot to square root the 8, because square root of 8 would have given him 2 root 2. Now sometimes in some mark schemes this isn't enough to say the error, so what he should have done was divide both sides by 8. Sides rather than dividing both sides by 8. Okay, so we've got an identity, so no matter what value you put in, they'll always be the same. So use the identity to work out the value of this. Right. So if I label this x and y, and we just multiply these in the middle, so we figure out the actual values. So we get 200 times 186. 2 times 186 to 1. 16, 17. 37,200. Factorize this. So we square rooted the x squared and the y squared. So this gets us 9b. So we in the brackets, the first bracket we get 10a plus 9b. And the second bracket 10a minus 9b. Okay, great. Question 19, circle a fraction equivalent to this. That's just a shortcut, really. If it's just the recurring digits, you can divide by 999 or 999. Okay, next I think this is some circle theorems. So A, B, and C are points in a circle. CD is a tangent. Assume that ABC is isosceles with AC. Right, so these two sides here are equal. Prove that AB is parallel to DC. So we got a few parallel line theorems as well. Okay, we need to prove that this angle here is equal to this angle. So let's start off by saying let angle ACD equals x, and then we can say that angle ABC, so this angle here from A to B to C, this angle is equal to this one here, because of the alternate segment theorem. Because that's like, so if I draw this out, the alternate segment theorem, if you remember, you'll have an angle like this, which will shade in, and that's equal to the angle here. Now, since ABC, so a triangle ABC, that means angle ABC, so this one here is equal to BAC, so from B to A to C, that's also equal to X. Just therefore, angle BAC equals angle ACD therefore. Okay, there are a few technical difficulties there, so we'll continue with this. Right, so those two angles are equal, so that means AB and AD, or actually it's DC, are parallel. That's because of the alternate angles. Alternate angles are equal. Okay. Right. So actually, I shouldn't have skipped that. In fact, ABC is equilateral, so tick this two boxes of the same as that must be correct. AB is parallel to DC. I think that would still be true. And then AC bisects angle EBCD. Or B. This here because this would be 60 and this would be 60 as well. Alright, so solve the simultaneous equations. This, right. give your answers in terms of p in the simplest form. So I could substart, I'll label these equations. So substitute equation 2 into 1. So this means I substitute y equals 2x plus p into this equation. So every time I see y in this equation, I replace it with 2x plus p. So that means 2x plus 3 lots of y, but y I'll replace with 2x plus p, it equals 5p. Plus 3p equals 5p. X equals 1 over 4p. So substitute this into, let's say, number equation 2. To get y equals 2 lots of 1/4 p plus p. So that'd be a 1/2 p plus p, 3 over 2p. So 1 over 4p for x and 3 over 2p for y. Now, question 22. Now, okay, so we got some vectors. So A, B, C, and A, C, D are triangles. K is a constant. Now, show that vector CD is equal to 6A plus 4.5B. So you get from C to D, we can go backwards here, and then go here. So we take the negative 3B, and then we add on A to D here, plus 7.5B. So this gets us 6A plus 4.5B. And that's just fill in a little box here to show you've shown what the question is asking for. Now part B, BCD is a straight line. So work out the value of K. You must show you're working. Right, so hmm. Hmm. So I think that would be a multiple of CD. Right. So if we work out B to C, right, I think what it's trying to say is BBC and CD are similar. So they're like factors almost. So this means, let's say BC, that would be equal to KA plus 3B, because you go up B to A, then down here. And from the other part, we knew that CD is equal to 6A plus 4.5B. So that means these two will keep the same proportions. So if you multiply this bit by 1.5, this bit will multiply by 1.5. So 1.5k equals 6. K is equal to 6 divided by 1.5, which is 4. Okay, great. Simplify 8 to the 4 divided by 32 to 2 to the 2 to the fifths. And give your answer in the form 2 to the m, where m is an integer. So what we know is 8 is 2 to the power of 3, and 32 is equal to 2 to the power of 5. That means 8 to the 4. Ah, come on. Hopefully there should be enough time now to complete the rest of the paper. Now, let's continue. Right. So 8 to the 4, right. So that'd be 2 to the 3. Raise that to the 2 to the 4. Right. Fourth power, so that'd be 2 to the 12. 32 to 2 in the fifths. That would be yeah. There we go. 2 to the power of 10. Okay, f of x is sine x minus 90. So transformations aren't on this year's exam, but what this means is um, things happen like 90 degrees later. So shifted 90 degrees to the right. So it'll be like something like this. So that's 0, that's a 90, it's 180. And f of 0, so sine x, so it's minus 90, it'll be minus 1. Right, so this question here, so P48 is a point on the circle, center 0, tangent at P intersects the axes at A and B, show that the gradient of the tangent is 1/2. Well, that's easy because um, gradient OP, that's going to be 2, and then since tangents meet the radius, and then tangent is negative reciprocal. That would be minus 1/2. So you do 1 divided by the number and make it negative or positive, or just flip it. Now part B, work out the length A to B. Give your answer in the form A root 5 where A is an integer. So we know the points. So the gradient is a half, is minus a half. So we're going to form an equation. And we have the point 48 on that line. So you substitute y is 8 and x is 4. So our equation is y equals minus half x plus 10. Next is we need to find out points A and B. So point A is that x is 0, so y is going to be minus a half. Actually, that's y equals 0. That's equal to x is 5. So that's the point 5, 0. And point B, x is 0 there. So y equals minus a half times 0 plus 10. That's 10. So that's the point 0, 10. Right, so that height here is going to be 10. And this here, from 0 to 5, that's 5. So if we do the length of AB, that's going to be Pythagoras. So that's root 125. That's 5 root 5. And that matches the a root 5 form, so a number to the root 5. Okay, final two questions. So the turning point of the graph, x plus a all squared plus b has x coordinate minus 2. 3, 1 is another point in the graph, y coordinate the turning point, right. So that means a is going to be 2. So we have the equation y equals brackets x plus 2 squared plus b. So we're going to substitute this point in here. That's b there. So our original equation was minus 24. So therefore when x is minus 2, y is going to be, so that bracket's going to be 0, it's minus 24. So our turning point, our y coordinate is just minus 24. And the final question is angle x is acute, cosine x times 60 times tan 30, right. So if we draw out our little triangle here, so we've got 60 here and 30 here. The height is root 3, I think. This would be 1 and this would be 2, right. Work out the size of angle x, you must show you're working. So we need to find sine 60 first. So if we take the angle 60 here, this will be the opposite divided by a hypotenuse. So that's going to be a root 3 divided by 2. Then tan 30. So if we take a look at angle 30 here, we cover that up. That's tan is going to be our opposite divided by adjacent, so 1 divided by root 3. Right, so therefore sine 60 times tan 30 is going to be root 3 over 2 times 1 over root 3. If we multiply these, we get root 3 over 2 root 3. And then this gets us, since we can divide top and bottom by root 3, we get a half. So at the end, we get cosine x is 1/2. And x here is just 60, because if we cover up 60 here, and we do adjacent divided by the hypotenuse, we get 1/2. Now that's the end there. Now thanks for joining. I hope you found this little walkthrough helpful and good luck on all of your exams.